Good evening. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope you're all well. To my right is Alfred, and we're here to talk about West Ham players, good, bad, and ugly. Alf, how are you doing?
Not bad.
Not bad. Man of many words, so to speak. Obviously, we get into these ratings and see what you think. But before we get started, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, and hit the notification bell. Check out the members perks if you want to become a member. If you don't, it's fine. We still love you. But I might be doing a little Christmas giveaway soon. So get in and get out before the going gets hot. Anyway, let's get into it. Areola and Fabianski, we're going to do a joint one here for goalkeepers. Give me your assessment of both these goalkeepers so far this season, mate, for you.
Areola's made many great saves. I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he commands the area well enough. And I think that does go under the radar. But he has made some exceptional saves, had some great performances. So you've got to give him a decent rating. And Fabianski, I do like Fabianski still. I think he's done well when he's played, to be honest. So, yeah, I think both goalies have been decent this year.
I just put a video up on Twitter and or X, as it's called, and people are saying about he's not a brick wall. I'm going to be honest, mate. If he weren't in goal, we would have conceded about 44 goals instead of 24. So, yeah, listen, I think both have been good. I think Fabianski was decent against Arsenal. I think when he's played, he's been pretty standard. Well, he hasn't really had any hard games, so to speak. And Areola's been, well, he's kept us in quite a lot of games this season, hasn't he? Let's be real. What would you rate the pair of them, Alf?
Firstly, hello, Happy Amaret, Mike, Jay Woods, everyone in the chat. Hello. I'd rate them both a 7.
I'm gonna give Fabianski a 7. I think Areola's been pretty decent this year. I think the only thing that lets him down is he doesn't command his box. So I'll probably give him a high 7, close to an 8. I think his defenders have let him down massively this season. I will say that. We'll move on though to the defenders. Let's start off with this man, Vladimir Sufal. What are you saying for him, mate, so far?
I think, some people have said he's not done that well. I think he's been pretty decent. 4 assists in the Premier League, which is very good for a right back 12 games in. His delivery's been good, judging off that. Yes, he's had some poor games, but he's had some very good games as well. I'm going to give him a 7.
Tricky one because he started slow, then he had a good little purple patch, and then he's gone back to being the Sufal of old. I think you're right. I think he just gets a 7 from me. Just like it's literally on the nose of a 7. I look at him and I think, can we find a better right back? I think we can. I think there's better right backs out there, but I think he's doing an okay job. I will say that. So 7 it is for him. Moving on to this man, Tilo Kehrer. Obviously, he's played a few League Cup games. He's played in I think he's played in Europe and all. What would you say for him?
3. I think when he's played, he's been rubbish.
3. I ain't going to be that harsh. I'll probably give him a 4. I think he's not been good, and that's why he's been holding bench for a long time. Right, we'll move on to this man. It's going to be interesting. Nayef Aguerd. What are you saying?
He's done well the last few games, but overall, he's not been good enough. I'm going to give him a 4.
Don't know on this one. I thought he started off horrendous, mate. Absolute horrendous. He got sent off against Chelsea. He every time, is he unlucky, Alf, or is he just crap? Right? Because every time
he's not unlucky. He's definitely not unlucky at this point.
I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to rate Aguerd so far because I think he's been okay in certain games. Do you know what I mean? But what it is with Nayef Aguerd, he'll make one error and then everyone just goes straight in on him because of that one error. But he'll be pretty decent or standard in a game. I'm going to give him. Give him just a 5 for me. I don't think he hasn't been great at all. Like he just hasn't been great at all. But there's been times where he has been okay. So I give him a 5 for me. Moving on to our captain, Kurt Zuma. What you saying about him?
Started the season brilliantly, but seems to have dropped off a little bit. I'd say it's been an average season so far for Zuma, so he's going to get a 6 from me.
Do you know what? Is he slightly overhyped for you, Elf? Because I think he is.
I don't think he's overhyped personally.
I think he is. I think he is slightly overhyped. I think if you look at the game the other day, for instance, Nottingham Forest, right? The goal they scored. If you look at his defending, he doesn't even track his runner. He doesn't even look at his runner. He's just it's a little gentle jog back. So I don't know with Zuma. He scored a goal at Luton. I'm going to give him a 6. I think just a 6 for me. So far this season, let's come to this man, Mavropanos. Alf, what do you say?
When he's played most of the time, he's looked pretty decent, but I thought he was terrible against Brentford.
Yeah,
yeah, he's been all right, to be fair to him. I'm going to give him a 6 as well.
I don't know. No, I can't give him a 6. I don't think he's been as good as what everyone makes out. He's had one good game for me, and that was against Arsenal. Yeah, and that's me being honest. Against Olympiacos away, he was all over the place. Against Brentford away, he was all over the place. I think he's done okay in Europe, but he hasn't done okay to sort of warrant people coming in and saying he should be starting games. Yeah, and the Brentford game proved it the other week because he was just absolutely he headed the ball into his own net for crying out loud. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to give him just a 5 for me, just a 5. I don't think he's done anything amazing. Do you know what I mean? Elite's in the chat. I can see your wording, Elite. It's fine.
Elite.
Right, we'll move on to this man, Angelo Abonarelf. So far this season, it's Sam.
He came on against Chelsea and was brilliant, but apart from that, he's looked not very good against
Bad.
Lincoln.
He was bad against Olympiacos, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch the away game to Olympiacos, so I can't judge that one. But
Right.
against Lincoln, I thought he was poor. Yeah, he's just not done enough really to get higher than a 5. I'm gonna give him a 4 actually.
I am going to go with a 5. I think he's done what he's supposed to do. If I'm being honest, and that's
Yeah, he
that's
was
not,
good against Elite's right. He was good against Brighton. No, I'm putting him up to a 5.
Yeah, I think 5 is about right. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, moving on to this man, Emerson. What you saying?
Good. I think he's been good. Not been happy with his crossing. Apart from that, I think he's been pretty tidy. Links up with Paqueta well, keeps the ball well. I think he's been one of our better players. Another player that's going to get a high 7 from me.
Oh, mate. 7. Oh, mate. That's no. I can't allow that one on here. He's getting a high 8 for me, mate. I think he's been excellent this season.
Ooh.
Absolutely superb. I think he's up there for like Hammer of the Year all day long. Like, I think his driving runs are excellent. I think his defensive ability is pretty good. I think the way he works with Paqueta on the left, I think it's been brilliant. I'm going to give him, a solid 8 for me. Solid 8, right? I think he's been superb. And what it is, if you've got an Emerson on the right hand side, we are cooking because that means
I disagree because he doesn't contribute with enough assists, whereas Soufal is contributing more assists.
I don't know though, mate. I don't know on that because look at the driving runs that he makes. When he makes the driving runs, he opens up the space for other people to do their thing. Like for me, Soufal goes forward, but he only goes forward in spells. Emerson always looks to go forward. Do you know what I mean? He always looks to try and impose himself on the game, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm going to make him an 8 for me. I think he's had a pretty good season so far in all competitions. Yeah. Moving on to this man, Aaron Cresswell. He's only played a few games, Alf, but I think he's been all right.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I think he's been pretty good when he's played, to be fair to him. He's not got the legs anymore, but when he's played, he's looked all right. When we lost to Everton, he was pretty decent. I'd say he's one of our better players. He gets a high 6 from me.
I'm going to agree with you. I make mine short and sweet. I think the game the other week against Everton, it was bad. It was a bad game, but he wasn't at fault for anything. I thought he actually done all right. I'm going to be honest. I thought he done his job pretty well. And yeah, should he still be here? Debatable, but it is what it is. Right, people, we'll come to the midfielders, and we'll start with this man, Alvarez, or Alvarez, however you want to pronounce it. Alf, take it away.
Started very well. I feel
Right.
like in some games he hasn't impressed me. One thing I forgot to mention about Emerson is that he gets too many bookings, and I'd say the same for Alvarez. You know, people often put it out as a joke. I don't find it
True.
funny. I think he gets too many bookings,
Great.
and he's going to get a too-match ban soon, as well Emerson. Overall, I'd say he's looked pretty decent. I'm going to give him a high 6.
Ooh, Alf. You're harsh tonight, mate. I've caught you on one of your bad nights. Right, let me get this right. Bookings, I agree with you on 100%. But yeah, he gets not only does he get booked, he gets booked too early in games, right? If you notice, all the bookings are usually early in the game, and then he's on a tightrope all the way through the game. Yeah. I think he's been decent, but I think certain partners that he's gone with have made him look bad, if that makes sense. I don't like Lucas is right. I don't care what anyone says, Lucas is right. When he goes forward, yeah, he's not the same player. He can't shoot. I think we can all establish that this man cannot shoot to save his life.
Yeah.
Right. But if he sits there as a sort of destroyer, stroke DM, sits there, breaks the play up, and just passes it on to the attackers, I think he's a very, very, very good player. I'm going to give him a strong 7 for me. I think he's done all right so far this season. Yeah, the bookings are a problem. Not going to lie. But it is what it is. You've got to take the rough with the smooth of that, ain't you? That's the only thing I will say. So high 7 for me. We'll move on to this man, which is Thomas Souček. What you saying?
Good. I think he's performed well. I think he's been one of our better players. Some off games as you'd expect with Souček, but when in the right position, I think he's performed well. I think he's got quite a few goals in all competitions, 4 or 5. I think it's 5 actually. And yeah, he's getting in the positions, playing well. Seems to be doing his thing this year. Gets a high 7 from me.
Is there anything with him that that this season has changed from last season? Because obviously last season everyone said he was like absolutely awful, and everyone's changing their tune this season.
Yeah, I think he's moved position. I think especially against Sheffield United on the weekend, several games when he's got good chances, he's been high up the pitch. But then again, he's also played deep in games like against Arsenal and impressed as well. So yeah, I think he's had a good season so far.
I'm going to give him just a 7 for me. I think certain games suit Thomas Souček. I think the other day he's there, he was decent, but there's been other games before where he's been non-existent and missing. Do you know what I mean? He scored a few goals today, so yeah, he gets a strong 7 for me. We'll move on to this man, Alf, James Ward-Prowse, the man who can't get in the England team for love or money.
8. I think he's been one of our best players. 9 assists in all comps already. Won us points. I think he's been a tremendous signing so far from Mr. Moyes. Easy 8 for me. Could have been a 9.
I'm going to give him a 9, mate. I really am. I just think what he's doing, the numbers wise, the stats wise. Anyone who loves a stat, if you look at his stats, he's tearing it up for £30 million to come to West Ham and to perform at a level that he's performing at. That deserves some credit. The assists, the goals. The only thing I've got a little issue with is him as a midfielder.
Yeah,
right. If you take the stuff away from him, yeah, and he ain't just for argument's sake, he goes on a bit of a run where he's not assisting or he's not doing anything of any note. What is he like as a midfielder? And I think he's okay, but he's not like top end midfielder sort of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give him a 9 for the games that he's been involved in so far this season. I think he's been excellent. £30 million. What more can you say? Do you know what I'm saying? Right, let's come to this man. Pablo Fornals played League Cup games. He's been on a sub. What would you say about him?
He's been crap, sadly. played. I think there was one game he came on as a sub where he impressed me. I can't remember what one now, but apart from that, he's been tosh. Not really impacted any games, not scored any goals, not done anything to write home about. He gets a 2.
Bloody hell, mate. Coming from you, that's bad. He has been bad. I agree with what Boyd's saying there. Shocking. Um, I don't get it with him, yeah. I really don't. Like, obviously, Alf, you used to back this geezer up quite a lot, but he just feels like he's just done, and he's just his time's come to an end at West Ham.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how to rate. I'll give him a 3 out of 10. Like, just for like all the effort he's put in over the years, and this season I think he's just waiting for January to come so he can leave, mate. If I'm honest, like I don't think he's here to the end of the season. I think he leaves in January, and yeah, Pablo Fornells, I think, is going back to Spain. Moving on to the attackers. Let's start off with this man, Daniel, 125 grand a week. Ings, what you saying?
0.
Shocking, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, he gets a 0. Not one good performance. Don't even think he scored a goal. Useless.
I agree, mate. I'm actually going to give him a -10. I think he's just shit. You got it spot on, and I don't like to praise you up, but I will on this one. You got it absolutely spot on with him. You said he ain't going to work at West Ham. He's just going to be non-existent, and you got it absolutely right. I 125 grand a week is an absolute insult to all of us. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Alf, I think you could go up front and do a better job currently
Yeah.
right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's on 125 grand a week for just smiling and changing his hairstyle. So yeah.
Quickly,
Is it,
I
go.
thought I gave Alvarez a 7, but apparently I gave him a high 6, so I'm going to change Alvarez to a 7.
Yes, you did give him a high 6, and that's why I had to say something. But Danny Ings gets a -10 for being crap. Moving on to this man, Saeed Ben Rama. Alf.
Better than Fornells this season, but
Right.
poop. He played well against Brighton. I'd say that was the game where he played really well. Apart from that, he's been absolutely. Oh no! And the first half against Brentford the other week, he was pretty.
I was just waiting to say something to you about that, but go on, carry on.
Yeah, but I thought apart from that, he's not really done anything. No, I think he's got 1 assist, 0 goals. I mean, it's not good really. Could have got the assist the other day for Kudus, but Bowen ended up scoring. So I'll give Ben Rama a 5.
I'm going to agree with a 5. It hasn't been good enough from Benny. I think he's been slightly unlucky. He could have had a goal the other week, but Mikel Antonio Mikel Antonio decided to take it off him. Brighton, I agree with you. I think he was excellent. Brentford in the first half, I think he was decent. Other than that, I think West Ham's just outgrown Said Ben Rama, if I'm being honest. Like I look at Said Ben Rama right now, and I look at a player that we signed a few years ago, and it's night and day. Do you know what I mean? He's just not that player anymore. And I think really, I'll be very, very shocked if he's here next season.
Elite Ben
So-
Rama was terrible in the. He weren't terrible. Ben Rama was not good in the European final.
Well, he did score a penalty, but
Yeah,
we don't talk.
Scored a penalty.
We don't talk about that on here because people get offended. So it is what it is. Right, 5 for me, 5 for Alf. We move on to this man, Alf, Lucas Paqueta.
Started the season brilliantly for about 6 weeks. Then he had 3 or 4 very poor games, and now on the weekend he played very well. So it's a tough one. I think I'm going to give him just about an 8.
Ooh, just about an 8. Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, give me the reasons why it's not a 9 or a 10 for you. Like, obviously, 10 would be like absolutely superb. So why is he not a high 8 for you?
Well, he could be a high 8, but I just think he in transition in the final third he's messed up too many times.
I agree with you on that. Yeah,
I also didn't like his work ethic at times in the last few weeks. He seems to have brought it back against Forest, but I do feel he gave up against Aston Villa, for example. And once again, like Alvarez and Emerson, gets too many yellow cards.
I'm going to give him a strong 8 and the reasons why is basically what you've just said there. You are right. Yeah, certain games he does go missing slightly in games. Yeah, but he has been like a player that has sort of influenced games and all. Now, when he's influencing games, he's top class. But when he goes missing, like he did against Villa, and there's another game I can't remember what game it was. Um, it's very frustrating. Do you know what I mean? I think Happy Hammerette just said it brilliantly there. Showboating is frustrating, but then he wouldn't be with us if he didn't do it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to give him a high 8, close to a 9. The passing's got to improve from him, though. I'm going to be honest. The passing has to improve, like, and be better. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's times where he gets into the key position, and I'm thinking, just play the pass now, and we're in. And even against Forest the other day, 2 or 3 passes that it's simple passes, and they was just
Yeah.
either too slow or over it, or just frustrating. Do you know what I mean? Anything else, Ed, you want to add on that, Alf?
Nah, not really on Paqueta.
No worries at all. But there's going to be a man that you're all going to add, and that is this man, Mikel Antonio. This is going to be fun. Tell me how great this player is at missing chances, Alf. Go.
He started the season fantastically. First few weeks of the season, I thought he was brilliant. Has
Right.
dropped off since, but I still feel he's put in some strong performances. He is third in the top 20, well, out of all the Premier League clubs in terms of dribble percentage. He's going to get a 6 from me.
Well, that's a 6, but I think you're being extremely kind there. Extremely kind. Right. Let me say my bit on Mikel Antonio. Right. First things first, Brighton away, excellent. Excellent. I agree with you on that. I thought that was probably his best performance this season. Yeah. Against Chelsea in the second half, he was good because he scored the goal, but that's all he really done. Yeah. After that, I haven't really seen much of him this season, mate, if I'm being real. Like, I haven't seen anything to say warrant that he should be starting games. I think he goes missing in games. I think he gets frustrated and he starts chasing the ball on either flank. Like he's going out wide to receive the ball because he's not getting the ball. Now, is that on the players supplying him? Possibly. But Mikel Antonio doesn't score no headers. He's not putting his head on anything anymore. Bowen on the weekend scores an header, and he's the smallest player in the box. Do you know what I'm saying?
But
So
I did think we missed Antonio on the weekend.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I look at it that he's better off coming on as a sub for the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and impacting the game that way. I think what Moyes done at the weekend with Mikel Antonio was the perfect thing. He comes on, he's another body in there, he can occupy defenders. I agree with what Boyd says there. Shout out to Boyd.
But
Never in the box.
we were launching long balls to Bowen that
Yeah.
Antonio won some of them. Bowen simply isn't as physically good as Antonio.
I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're very well. I understand what you're saying on that, Alf, but I think he's got to do more. Like, this is a man that spoke 5 days before the Liverpool game and said that West Ham were going to finish above Liverpool, and he was bigging himself up. I think the podcast side of things isn't doing him no favors. I'm going to be honest. When you are sort of bigging yourself up with a bit of an ego, you've got to back it up with
I
performances.
do
And if
love
you're
his
not,
though.
I know, yeah, I know. But you would love his podcast. But what I'm saying is, you still got to back it up, and he hasn't backed it up this season. And for me, I'm going to give him a high 4. I think he hasn't been all that, if I'm being honest. And I think high 4 is being kind. I agree with what Brian's saying here. Yeah, Antonio 4 was flying at the start of the season. Then the transfer window closed, and he's been awful, and he hasn't scored.
He's trying his best.
Yeah, well, they're all trying their best, Alf. Even you. Do you know what I'm saying? Right, let's come to this man. Mohamed Kudus. He started his first game, or he come on off the bench on his first game against Luton for about 35 seconds, and then he scored, obviously, in the game against Newcastle. That was his first Premier League goal, I believe. Right? What you saying about Mohamed Kudus?
A good start from Kudus. He's looked bright. He scored 2 goals in the league, 3 goals in the European games.
Yeah,
Overall, I'd say he's looked good so far. I thought against Brentford he was average. I thought when he came on against Man City he was average. But for a player from Ajax coming over to the Premier League, I think he's really impressed at the start of this season. I'm going to give him a high 7.
Ooh. He scored 5 goals in all competitions, I think it is, if I've got that right. I'm going to give him a strong 8, mate. I think he's been excellent. I think he has been excellent. What I like about Mohamed Kudus is when he picks the ball up, he looks to go forward every single time. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't think about going back. It's turn, it's run, it's straight away. I think when people say about Moyes and people say about Moyes bedding him into the side, Moyes has took his time with him, got him in at the right time, and I think it's showing. Do you know what I mean? The goals he's scoring are top class goals.
I think
Do you know what I
Moyes
mean?
has handled him brilliantly so far.
I think he's done okay with him. I'm not gonna lie. I know people were crying out for him. The problem that we have with Mohamed Kudus, and as fans, we all have this, is where his best position? Is it a 10? Is it the right wing? Is it like a false 9? Is it as a sort of attacking midfielder? We honestly don't know. But I'm giving him a strong 8. I thought he's been decent. I think he's been decent, and I think him and another man have been the shining lights this season, along with obviously Paqueta. Let's get to Charlie Walsh. Shout out to Charlie Walsh all the way over in North London. Kudus, low 7, difficult one though. Created magic moments, gone missing at times. Can't wait to see more of him. Shout out
As
to
usual, Charlie Walsh with a great opinion.
Yeah, Charlie Walsh. Shout out to Charlie Walsh all the way over in North. Right, I'm giving him an 8. You're giving him a high 7, and we're going to move on to this man, Jared Bowen. How easy is this rating going to be, Alfred?
Brilliant, Bowen. Hammer of the year, definitely so far. He's got 8 goals in 12 games, which is undeniable. Another outstanding season from Jared. Brilliant. I mean, he's the 3rd top scorer in the Premier League, broken the away goal scoring record for West Ham United, scored in 6 straight away games. That record can still continue against Burnley. Definitely the best player for us so far. Puts his body on the line all the time. High 9.
I'm going to give him a 10. And I think, I know you're saying high 9 because I can understand it. But for me, I think he's the reason why West Ham are doing okay this season. Yeah, you take his goals away, we're in shit, and that is no joke. Like,
would you say he's better than Rama?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so now. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Listen, I think a high 9 is decent, but I'm going to be honest. I think he's been superb. I think the goals he scored against the teams he scored against, like Liverpool away, Villa away, he's a breath of fresh air, Jared Bowen. I do think he needs help. He can't do it on his own. And if anything happens to Jared Bowen, then we are in stuck big time.
And the goals will slow down slightly because the amount of goals he's scoring probably isn't sustainable because he's just scoring too many for a club like us. But
he is. I agree with that.
In the Premier League, I reckon he's got 8 so far. If he gets another 7, and I know people are going to go, oh, he's going to get another 10. You know, it's very hard. If he gets another 7 and gets 15 Premier League goals, then that's an unbelievable season from Bowen.
I think he clears. I actually think he scores 20 goals this season. If you want me to be honest,
Premier League.
Yeah, I do. I think he's always there, Alf. He's always there. He's always looking for a goal. If he plays as a centre forward, I think he's going to pressurise teams into mistakes. I think 20 goals on the cards. I think the next sort of 3 or 4 games, if he bags, just say 2 goals in the next 3 games, I think he'll do 20 this season. Because I just think he's non-stop. He's just non-stop. So
the thing is, he's going to gas out. There's going to be a time when, at the moment, everything he's touching is turning into a goal. There's going to be a bit of bad form, you know, an injury perhaps. I reckon he gets, if I was to guess now, I think he gets 6 more in the Premier League. I reckon he'll score 14 Premier League goals, which I'd say is a great season.
Probably. So, yeah, we leave it at that with him. He's probably our best player so far this season by a long way. And that is it for that. But there's one more, people. And this is the one you've been waiting for. And it's this man, David Moyes. Now, this is going to be interesting.
You appear to have spelt his name wrong.
No, it is. That is his name.
It's
right? It ain't Mister. It ain't fucking Mister. Do you know what I mean? I ain't getting like grief from other people now. Do you know what I mean? His name's called David Moyes. That's his government name, bruv. Honestly, 100%. Right? What are you saying about David William Moyes? What are you saying?
Once again, despite the Olympiacos loss, he's done well in Europe, top of the group. So it's what it is. 9th in the Premier League is good so far, considering our fixtures. Okay, yes, our form in the last month probably has not
Yeah.
been good, but overall, people thought we were going to lose our first 6 Premier League games, and we were about 5th after 6 games. So that says it all. Still in the Carabao Cup, beat Arsenal. So as much as people complain, which they will do about David Moyes, and that they're perfectly entitled to their opinion, I think so far he's done pretty good. So I'm going to give him a high 7.
I done a little show earlier on that's going to come out this week at some point, and I mentioned about Moyes, and I turned around and said that basically I think West Ham are roughly where they should be. I think West Ham are about 4 points short in certain games this season, where games where they've drew the game where they should have won it because of a referee, and games where they just give it away due to stupid errors. I think Moyes is doing okay. I'm not going to lie. I think he's doing okay with what he's got.
Would you say good?
Say that again.
Would you say Moyes has done well so far?
I think he's done okay, Alf. I think he's done all right. I think when you look at what he's done so far this season, League Cup, Europa League, Premier League, and trying to do that and combine all them games in. And let's be honest, how many times we're basically playing 3 games a week? Yeah, as good as. Do you know what I mean? It's either like Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. You know what I mean? It's always like we're playing every week, basically 3 times a week, near enough. Yeah. So I think he's done okay, right? I don't understand it with the style of play, right? Because I look at us the other day and I thought we was all right. I thought it was okay. I thought once we scored against Nottingham Forest to go 2-2, I thought we literally smashed Forest to bits. Do you know what I mean? And we hit the crossbar and Souček was all over him. Do you know what I mean? His subs, people complain about his subs, but I think he's starting to get the subs right a little bit. But I think he's doing okay. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand. This is one thing I will say on here. I don't understand where people expect West Ham to be right now. I think West Ham are roughly in that bracket of 9th, 7th position. I don't think we should be 6th. And the games we've lost this year, I look at us and I think some of them we've deserved to lose, and some of them we've just give away. We've give them games away, really. So, yeah, I'll give him a strong 7. I think he's done all right. I think he's done okay. Do you know what I mean? 9th, just before the international break. This is the final international break of the year. Yeah, 7 for me. What you saying, Alf, to round it up?
Yeah, I think so far he's done well, and he's received a lot of criticism because he's lost games that he probably shouldn't have lost. Everton at home, we shouldn't be losing that game, but he's definitely won games that you wouldn't have expected him to win. Brighton, Chelsea, and Arsenal pop to mind. David Moyes, you saved our club, and I wish you well, good sir.
Fair enough, Alf. Fair enough. You have spoken. Anything else, Alf, you want to add before we wrap this up about West Ham so far this season?
Right, I'm going to give you one more name to rate.
Go ahead.
Tim Steidten.
Oh, Timmy. Do you know what? I know you're like saying that to sort of try and trigger a reaction out of me, but you're going to get a reaction out of me because that's how I am. I think he's done okay with the signings that he's brought in. Yeah. James Ward-Prowse is not his signing. Yeah. But Kudus and Alvarez probably are. Yeah. Mavropanos. Right. I think all the signings have done well so far this season. Like, let's be honest. Every one of them's contributed somewhere along the line. I think Mavropanos needs more time to sort of get bedded in to this side, but I think Kudus and Alvarez are doing well. I think James Ward-Prowse, whether that's a Moyes signing or not, you've got to give Moyes some credit there. He picked him up. He's the man he wanted from the start. He got the man, and he's delivering. He's delivering. So, it is what it is. What about you? Would you rate him?
I think there's potential for his entire project at West Ham to get a very high rating. But so far, I'd give Tim Steidten a 6.
What is his project, Alf? That's a question for you. What is his project?
You'd assume his project is to bring down the average age of the squad.
Right.
I don't know whether it's to hire a new head coach. Usually when a director of football comes in, they will look to hire a head coach that suits their philosophy. So I imagine he will eventually hire a new head coach. his project will probably also entail a certain brand of football.
Right.
But these are all assumptions at the end of the day, just going off what happened at Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
So far, I'd give Tim Steidten a 6. I think, his signings so far have been okay. I know I wouldn't give him much more than that at the moment, and just at the moment.
Do West Ham? Here's a question for you. Do West Ham have to go backwards to go forwards with Tim and a new manager? Because if you're saying that they're going to bring in younger players and everything, that's going to take time. Like, because
Yeah,
West Ham just don't do that. Yeah. When you look at our team right now, we've got a lot of players who like will probably be in their wheelchairs going around West Ham. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Tim's doing a good job. I do think people are hyping him up a bit too much though,
yeah.
because no one really hypes up Rob Newman, and Rob Newman got in Emerson, Paqueta, to name them two players. Yeah, and you hear nothing about Rob Newman there, like nothing at all. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want it to be like another Steidten's here, he's the saviour, he's going to take us into another like dimension. He possibly could do, but if it goes wrong with one signing or the manager ends up being a wrong appointment,
Yeah.
then that will soon turn fast. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So I think I like the idea of a new project and all that, but I've heard this all before. Yeah, and I think you've got to make sure that like what you can't lie to the fans. Basically, that's what my
I
attitude is.
do think people just at the moment it's hard to tell what Stein has done. People are sort of, I think they're hyping him up out of hope more than anything.
Yeah, I agree on you with that 100%. They're hoping for something.
Yeah, but
Couldn't agree more.
he's definitely, if his track record is true, which it seems to be, then he's definitely done a good job. I mean, at Leverkusen, it's undoubted that he's brought some great players to the club for the amount they spent. So we'll see what happens with Tim Steidten in the end and whether it will be with Moyes at the helm or not.
What is the long-term goal for West Ham now? Because obviously I'm going to be doing a show with a few people probably next week now. Yeah, talking about like this Moyes in, Moyes out stuff and the project and the future of West Ham. Yeah. For
Yeah.
me, I I hear people saying about the project, but no one really is like clear to say what it actually is. Like, is it to finish in the top six or
Well,
compete for the
I
top
think
four or what?
one thing that I will say is sometimes when people are constantly calling for young players, they are giving the owners what they want. And this is what I'll
True.
say about that. Young players guarantee hype from fans, and if they do well, they guarantee profit. At the end of the day, a football club is a business, and we don't want to become a club that just gets young players, they do reasonably well, and we sell them. We don't want to be a
Yeah.
selling club. So I'm not sure what the project will be in terms of will we keep our best players now, because at the moment we don't seem to do that. So you'd have to have performances on the pitch that are worthy of getting players to stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think sadly, one thing that people don't consider is I think a lot of it will be to make Sullivan and the club a bit more money because they have spent a lot in the last couple of years. I think a lot of it will be about getting that money back from bringing in young players. I could be wrong, but that's what the pessimist in me says.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. One thing I will say before I round this up is that I think if people want us to go to the next level, I don't think the owner that we currently got can take us to the next level. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think he's got the finances or the backing to take us to a level where people expect West Ham to be. West Ham have been spoiled over the last few years. Well, as fans, we've been spoiled. But listen, I will take being spoiled because we haven't had something like this for a long time. We haven't had Europe consistently forever, and we haven't won a trophy in 43 years, and we have done. So I get that. The only thing I will say is that when moving forward, you need to be sort of more transparent with the project. I think it's okay saying about a project and saying about, oh, this is what it is and this is how we're going to go and this, that, and the other. But you've got to be a bit more transparent with the fans in regard to that. If the youth players ain't good enough, sell them. Like, you've only got to look at Chelsea. Chelsea probably have the best academy going because they just loan all their players out and then just flog them everywhere. And I think people have got to understand where they want West Ham to be at the minute. They either want West Ham to bring in the youth and be that sort of club again, or they want us to go out and buy top end quality and be that club that goes up the league. Do you know what I mean? I think certain man will get in the team from the youth setup, but the youth setup really is for teams that can't really pay out for our players, if I'm being honest, and they rely on the youth to come through to sort of keep their club A afloat and B to bring in talent if they can't afford to buy anyone. So
Yeah, at the end of the day, the thing is with our youth team,
yeah,
we sold Declan Rice for 105 million. So that's probably worth 15, 20 years of money in terms of youth
true.
sales, if not more, probably more. So
Yeah,
we're in no rush to sort of make a big sale from youth. I think what we want to do now is start to try and get one or two of them in the first team, or at least send them on good loans. Freddie Potts is doing well on loan. The
Wickham. Yeah.
Mabama one, I think Mabama could be a case of another player who thinks the grass is greener. We'll see. I don't think it will be.
The only thing with him is that I think that he ain't going to go somewhere else and be an instant hit. He's going to have to work his way in. I think why he's at West Ham right now, he should commit to the club. And this
Yeah,
is where like the commitment comes into it. You either want to be at West Ham or you don't. If you don't want to sign a new deal at West Ham, and let's be honest, he's a decent player, but let's not rave him up like he's like the next sort of Mbappe because he's not. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but if West Ham are offering him money to stay here, and he thinks he can go and get it, like he can go elsewhere and be better elsewhere, then we shouldn't be able to ransom. That is just my honest opinion on that. Do you know what I'm saying? So, um, we will see what the future brings. Do you know what I mean? And we will see what happens in the next sort of coming months before the end of the year. But for me, I'm okay. I'm at that sort of moderate level for me where I'm like, you know what, I'm happy and long may it continue. Do you know what I'm saying? Alf, anything else you want to say before we go?
no, I think we've covered it all. Thank
Good
you to
man.
everyone. Become a member of the channel. Follow West Ham Online 5 on Twitter. Follow E20WHU on Twitter. Drop a like on the video. Yeah.
And do all the other stuff, right? Right, that's enough from us. Listen, I'm going to be doing a Premier League breakdown video. Yeah, it's already done. It's going to be coming out either tomorrow or Friday. If it ain't tomorrow, it'll definitely be Friday. But listen, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. That has been the best and the worst, and that's me and Alfie to the T because I'm the best and he's the worst. That one there. Peace.